She is the future of UFC commentary. She is an absolute superstar on Dana White's Contender Series. It's Laura Sanko. We flew her all the way from Kansas City to feed her stout burgers on this week's Food Truck Diaries. Let's go.
Make it big, big, super thick. From my wallet to my check. I don't want it if it's skinny, but I need it if it's thick. Need a thick girl for the thick boy. I need everything I get, super thick boy. You ready? Used to have a model bitch, now I got a thick one. Yeah, I do. Last night went late, yeah, we had a sick one. I'm very drunk. Yeah, and I like
the Kansas City superstar herself. Thanks for cutting some time out of your busy-ass schedule.
Man.
Laura Sanko here.
I'm excited to be here. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I watch the show a lot, and when you guys first contacted me, I was like, me?
Yeah,
Me?
You don't realize how big of a star you are yet?
Well, I'm really not.
There's nothing better.
But as I was saying before we started, as I'm eating my own hair, it's fun to be the interview subject, not the interviewer.
Yeah, you get to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're coming straight from the Contender Series.
I am.
Straight to Calabasas from the Contender Series in Vegas. Contender Series is interesting. I think it's the best idea the UFC's had in a long time. It's completely taken over, like the Ultimate Fighters. It's just not what it is anymore. Yeah. And the Contender Series, which, you know, when we first heard about it, like, let's see how it goes. And to me, it's by far the best product the UFC does, because think about all the superstars that have come out of the Contender Series. And to me, what makes it more special than the Ultimate Fighters, those fighters are so hungry to get a contract, and they're also ready to go. And you think about the superstars like Sugar Sean came out of there. Yep. And now I think, and which I'd love to pitch this idea to you, Bo Nikal, you, right? Like, so it's like,
well, don't lump me in anything with Bo Nikal, but that's very complimentary.
Well, I think, but I'm just saying, as far as like
the show's a great platform.
The platform, the superstars, it's kind of taken over what the Ultimate Fighter used to be. So it's creating all these super. Listen, I'm an Ultimate Fighter alumni. I'm an Ultimate Fighter. It gave me my ticket to the chocolate factory. Yeah. I got in the Wonka chocolate factory, got CT, but still, it's a cool factory.
But you got to go to the candy.
I did get to go in there and taste the candy, and I got CT from it. But yeah, I just think the Contender Series is just a special thing. And you being part of it, I just think it makes it that much better.
It's definitely my favorite show by far. I mean, I've yet to work a pay-per-view in like the full broadcast capacity, but there's something, oh man, there's something so special and powerful about even just standing like next to someone who has just made their dream come true. Like I think of it as like labor and delivery nurses, right? Like they get to be there as new humans are like brought into the freaking world.
Yeah, but don't get like them, because they're so used to it, they get jaded. They're like, here's your kid.
I don't think I could.
You're like, here's your kid, like mine. She's like mean to my kids.
Like
here you go, another one next. You know, you don't want to be that in UFC.
I won't. I don't think I could, because like there's definitely a part of me that still, because of what my career was, how short it was, I live vicariously through all of them. Even the heavyweights, the men, women, whoever. Like, there's a part of me that loves what they're doing because I wish I could be doing it. So it's special to me on like another level beyond even just loving people and wanting all people to succeed. Yeah,
and also I think because you were a fighter and you can appreciate like what it takes for that moment. Yeah. And also I think it's also rare in people's lives. Like, what's an actor, you might see them, their breakout movie, but I'd rather see the audition, how it got them there, you know, or their acting classes, like them building up to it. We get to see that in the Contender Series. It's like the Ultimate Fighter, you know, when it was in its heyday. Like, I remember when I knocked out Marcus Jones, not in my personality, I'm doing snow angels on the mat. I go to grab and hug Dana White. He's like, bro, your nose. I'm like, what? He's like, your nose. And I got kneed in the nose by Marcus Jones. My nose is like over here. I'm like, oh my God. But it's like that moment like made my career.
And
it's on TV. So you get to be involved in all that. And like, now you have superstars coming out of there.
It's like a weekly drug rush. I don't do drugs, so maybe that's the wrong analogy, but I talk to the people that do. It sounds like it.
That sounds fun.
It's like to be any part of that is just awesome. And the stories that come out of that show, like the backgrounds, I get really sucked into the backgrounds that people have, because I think it matters. Like, it matters more when you watch them go on and do big things.
Well, it's
and
like if you watch, I don't mean to interrupt you. It's like if you watch like the countdowns, the embeddeds, or like the 24/7s that HBO used to do, like I wouldn't even know this Mexican fighter, and I'd be completely sold. Like his life story, selling tacos, got in a fight with his brother. They realized he had a good left hook, and then he comes from nothing. I'm like, oh, I'm in, man. So I think with Contender Series, they're just selling these stories. And it's such a special thing, but don't discredit. I think it's the perfect storm. It's exactly what the UFC needed. The Ultimate Fighters ran its course. That's over. So then this thing, you have these hungry fighters, and they're putting on fights because they know if they do their job, they get the ticket right there. You're part of it. You got Bisping there, Felder. Who is it? Is Brendan Fitzgerald?
Brendan does half of it, and then Dan Halley will call half of it in terms of play.
They're all great.
Yeah.
So it's like this perfect like teamwork, man. And then Dana's passionate about it, It's
Dana
such a cool.
Dana freaking loves it.
That's his baby.
And I like the format of it. It's short, like it's a palatable amount of time. Like not everybody has 7 hours on a Saturday to watch every moment.
No, especially if you have kids.
Of a giant 100% giant pay-per-view card. But this is 2.5 hours, not a lot of fluff. And I love that they go out there swinging for the fences, man, because like you said, it's a different assignment. I'll watch tape on guys, a lot of tape on guys coming into those fights, and they will fight so far beyond their own style because of what's at stake. And it's really cool to see. They do.
And then also, I think it's cool because you get to be there when they get their moment, and then you have to be proud of guys like Sugar Sean and all the other guys who have made it, because it's like, oh, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Like we did this, man.
Yeah. I'm old enough. I'm not old enough to be all of their moms, but it's starting to be to the point where I'm old enough to be a couple of their moms, and it's really kind of freaking me out. Not so much Sean.
Yeah.
But you look back at that interview I did with Sean, and he looks so different. His energy is different. I mean, clearly the skills were there.
Skills and swag was there, but it's like you brought out this
just blossomed into this incredible character. And he actually came back last week and sat in with us and called a fight. And he was in the production meeting, and he sat down, and he was like, "This is so cool." He's like, "This is where we got our start."
That's so cool.
I feel like I share a bond with all of the fighters that come through there, and that's becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger proportion of the UFC, because I've been involved with every episode of that show. I love it. And it's Dana's baby, but
it's your baby. That's
baby.
It's your It's like you share this, stepchild. Yeah. But I think too, I'll get off Contender Series nuts after this. But I think I'm a huge Bo Nikal fan. I think he's the future. I think he's the biggest prospect we've had in probably 10 years. The only closest one would be Aaron Pico. We signed with Bellator, but Bo Nikal is right there. Like if he's a stock, I'm in. And when I watch him, he only has 3 fights?
2 now.
Yeah, 2 now. And I think they announced his third in September, end of September, right? When I look at Bo Nikal, I'm like, well, he does need the experience, because once you get to the UFC is not a place where you want to pick up experience, because you get thrown to the freaking Wolverines, trust me. So for Bo Nikal, and Contender Series is such a big thing, I don't get why, and hear me out here, you know the ins and outs of Contender Series. Why not make Bo Nikal like the champion of Contender Series, because it is a feeder league. He's the champion of that league, and then just have him get experience in there and then graduate him to the big leagues.
I think
Dana's all shut up.
Yeah. I think he's ready, to be honest with you. I think that they knew what they were doing. Putting him on that show, because that show allows you to have a little bit of jet fuel when you come into the UFC. You're fighting in front of Dana. You have that clip of Dana talking about you when he gives you the contract. Obviously, the fight has to speak for itself, and it certainly did. Yeah. I want to see him challenged in week 9, at least to the extent that he can be. They're not going to feed him to a wolf, but I want to see him. I want to see him go past how many
seconds?
The first round.
Past the first round. Past 2 minutes.
Past 2 minutes, something like.
I don't know if you're going to get that at that level of Contender Series unless it's like a vet,
Do you see? Here I am turning into the interview.
Bring it.
Do you? Because I made this argument. I think it was on the weigh-in show. I think he could compete at least at the beginnings of the top 15
100%.
In the middleweight division today.
100%. Now,
that's why he doesn't need to be champion of the Contender Series.
I disagree, because can he compete in the top 15? Absolutely. Would probably beat, a good amount of them. I'm not going to call names. Would probably beat a good amount of them. But my goal for Bo Nikal is to be world champion. Yeah. he's not ready to be world champion. That ain't happening.
No.
So in order for him to get that experience, he needs to work on his striking, doing Contender Series.
Yeah.
Don't do in the UFC. You know, so I think, again, he beats a lot of those top guys right now, but I would ask Bo and his team, like, well, what's the goal?
Yeah.
If the goal, I don't know if money's an issue. If money's an issue, let's get to the UFC, get your sponsors, do all that stuff. But if your goal, because the UFC is a marathon, not a sprint. We can do a 100%. Sprint, and you're going to be a flash in the pan, in and out, then you're teaching kids wrestling.
Yeah.
But if your goal is to become the straight-up world champion multiple times, let's hold out. Let's take a little break from chatting Laura Sanko's ear off so you can still stare at my ugly mug, because I got something for you guys. For you bros out there, those pumpkin spice lattes are a poppin'. Tis the season. But listen, when it's the season, that fall breeze is just passing you by. You don't want a bush, fellas. That's why you need Manscaped. That's right, Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. And today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your bush isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves, all right? Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter from the fall. Join the 6 million bros worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code SCHAUB20. What do you get at Manscaped? Well, that's hilarious. You guys should know by now. I do a million reads for them. Whether you're brand new already with the team at Manscaped, you could use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels. We're talking about the Platinum 4.0 package. In this package, you get everything you need to stay hairless like a cat. Those hairless cats, not like regular cats. You know those weird cats and those movies. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, you get the Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer, the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. Also, if you have hair coming out of your nose, you look like a psychopath. You also get the additional body wash and ultra premium 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner. All right. You get the premium deodorant. You also get the crop reviver, the crop preserver. You also get a nice little shed travel bag to put all those goodies into. That's what you get with this platinum package from my friends at Manscaped. All you got to do, go to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free shipping with the code SCHAUB20. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com when you use code SCHAUB20. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine. Let's get back to the program.
But look how, and I'm not saying that he's like risen up the ranks and is on the precipice of getting a title, but Chase Hooper in his boy body was able to survive a decent amount of time and gain some experience and start like picking up new skills in the UFC. Charles Oliveira is a much better example, much better example. But it took him forever. And he went through the ringer.
Go back to Chase Hooper, though. I would say he was mismanaged.
I think he got there a little bit early, but like...
He wasn't ready for the... I think he can beat a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Not in the top 15, that's not happening. But he can beat a lot of those guys on the outside there. But again, what's the goal, Chase, you know?
But look at the skill set between Chase Hooper and Bo Nikal, and tell me who you think. Like, I think there's a path, and I think that they see it too. Like, I think there's a real path for Bo Nikal, because he's not going to get right into the UFC and start fighting top 15 guys. I don't know how big that
it depends. You know how the UFC is.
I know.
But I do think the UFC is learning, you know, because I think they rushed Darren Till and we broke him, you know? But I do think he can come back. He has the skill set, the mindset for it. But they've rushed guys, but look what they're doing with Sugar Sean. They've taken their time. Now, you know, he's one of the top 5.
Sean's a perfect example.
Sean's great. Patty Pimlet's a great example. Yeah. Patty Pimlet's a great one, where they're not rushing him. Like with Patty, like, oh, we want to see him against, it's like, dude, he's just getting going. Like, chill.
I think that they will handle Bo the way that Bo should be handled. And Bo will pass the appropriate tests when he needs to pass them. But I mean, listen, we've seen, what is it, Cain Velasquez had 2 fights when he came to the UFC. Stellar NCAA wrestling background. Brock Lesnar, amazing NCAA background. How many did he have?
Horrible striking, but keep going.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, he did some things.
Yeah, he did some things.
He did
Knocked
some
out
things.
Randy Couture. No, yeah, he was world champion.
He did some things.
You're talking about a different animal now, though.
We are.
Like, not like the game's advanced so, like,
And a
there's
totally
so
different
many
weight
good
class.
guys.
I get
Different
that.
weight class.
I get
like,
that.
the skill set.
Yeah.
And someone is going to be able to stop his takedowns. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
And it's a matter of...
In the top 10, that wrestling, to a certain point, is, you know, now there's the Khabib argument, right? Like, Khabib striking, not awful, but, not, you know, he's not Charles Oliveira. So, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Now, listen, I want to be very upfront. I'm all in on Bo Nikal.
Yeah.
I've never been more excited about a guy since Aaron Pico.
No, I understand. Like you want him to succeed.
Yeah,
so
I think he's going to succeed.
You want him to be
I just
handled.
want to chill a little
yeah.
bit.
No, I get it. I get it.
It's like when you draft a quarterback in the first round, and you play for fucking Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It's like I'd rather my guy, like if it was my son, I'd rather him go to I'd rather him go to Green Bay and sit behind Aaron Rodgers for 4 years, pick up the skills, and then. Because, it's such a short window.
You talk to the guys at ATT, though, like those behind-the-scenes conversations, talk to Jorge, talk to whoever, and they're like, no, like, legit, his striking, he just hasn't had a chance to show it yet.
That's what gets me excited.
Yeah.
And it was the same with Leon Edwards. Like, Josh Thompson, he's the captain of AK, and he's like, dude, I'm telling you, Leon Edwards was with us for a while, savaged it.
Yeah.
And with Makachev, same thing. He's like, no, I'm telling you. Like those, to me, the training room, like kind of mythical legends. That's why I do this.
Yeah.
I love them. I love them. So when I heard about Bo Nikal, I'm like, keep going. I'm so in. Oh, let's throw him. Yeah, get him in there. Yeah. I just think it could be cool if he was like the face of Contender Series, and like I just feel more fame and just.
He will be for this season. Listen, I mean, week 9 or 10. I can't remember what week it is. I think it's week 9. So 4 weeks from now, he's going to fight again. Obviously, we expect him to do great things yet again.
He's going to demolish the guy.
Yeah. I just don't see a point in making him do it a third time. You know what I mean? Like,
I also think
there's 3 or 4 fights outside the top 15 where he'll get that another year's worth of experience and then off to the races.
Off the races.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to buy a shirt.
Right.
Bo, I'll design your shirt, dude. It's my thing. I'll be your guy. But I also think, too, the caveat to that is if I'm in the UFC meeting, I'm like, well, dude, Bo's going to destroy anyone we bring through here, so we can't build up any other guys.
Yeah.
He's going to eat them alive, and these guys aren't going to get to the UFC. So it fucks up the whole process.
Yeah.
Say less. Keep doing what you're doing. They're like, we also sold for $4 billion. Shut your yapper, Schaub. Fair point. Fair point.
They've figured a few things out.
Yeah, they
and
know
I
what
think
they're doing.
This show in particular is an interesting influx of talent because so many people get signed over a 10-week period. And it's very much like, hey, you proved to me in this one night. Sometimes you proved to me lots of things because it was a 3-round war and I got to see grappling, I got to see striking, I got to see your heart, whatever. Sometimes you just knock a guy out in 30 seconds. You impress me, like, up to you, right?
But it's still not like, that's the other caveat to that show. Like, that's still not the real UFC. You know what I'm saying? Like they think it is. It is. I find that it is not.
No.
It's like once that crowd there, and it's you're talking about 30,000 screaming fans. Like that's the real UFC.
That's why guys like Patty and there's some guys that have come through. I'm trying to remember who it was. If it was Dricus du Plessis or he didn't come through Contender Series, but like there are some guys that are lucky enough to have that experience at shows, whether it's in Europe or South Africa or whoever, that sell out. Like a lot of the Polish guys that fight at, is it KSW?
Yep.
Those shows are like 15,000 people.
To your point, I didn't know Patty was on that level. We did a food truck with him. I'm talking to his manager, and he's like, "Yeah, Patty, he really didn't want to come to the UFC." I'm like, "What? Why not?" Yeah. He's like, "Oh, dude, he's sold out." Yeah. He was telling me like the arenas he sold out before this. I'm like, he's actually taking a pay cut, but we think in the long run, like, oh shit. Yeah. Oh, and when his first UFC fight, I was like, we're gonna see how he handles with the nerves in front of this big of a crowd. And his Liverpool fans like, hey, moron. He's been fighting this for 4 years, selling out, being the only headliner.
That crowd at the March UFC London show was insane.
Top 5 best events I've ever seen, and not even being there, just watching. I'm like, this is nuts. For fight night?
Wild, absolutely wild. I mean, when I interviewed Dana after the fights, and he literally was like, he was soaked in beer. He's talking like this because his voice was completely gone from yelling. And he's just like, I just love this shit. This is so good. How
could you not?
Yeah.
That was a special night. All right, let's get off Contender Series because this is about you. It's about you. And you got your start on Contender Series, but really your origin story starts with Invicta.
Yeah.
Which is, the major leagues for female fighting. Like there's not a bigger league. But it's interesting to me, and we have a lot of similarities, which we'll get to, but so you start in Invicta as a fighter, you have a professional fight there, you win, but you get pregnant, so that throws a wrench in everything.
Yeah.
And then you have to take care of the kiddo. Shout out to you, being a good mom, which is expected,
appreciate
right?
It.
Yep, so appreciate it. So then the owner of Invicta was like, hey, you want to do this interview?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I don't have any experience with doing that.
None. Which
I think is the best way to learn, by doing it.
I mean, it was scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. You nailed it. I thought I was going to be a professional MMA fighter. Like, that was my goal. That was
at atomweight.
At atomweight. That was who I was. And this is right around the same time. I fought right before Ronda made it to the UFC. So, like, at that time, I'm like, well, this is it. This is the top of the mountain, Invicta, because we were still under the impression that UFC would never have women, right?
Dana did say that.
He did, and then she changed everything. And so I had the fight. I was in camp for my next fight, got the win, in camp for my next fight. People are excited about stuff. I'm excited about stuff. And then, you know, the joke that I like to beat in the ground, I had to pull out because my husband didn't.
Hilarious.
Got pregnant, I know, right? I've only told it like 50 times.
I dig it.
And then she called, Shayna Knapp called and was like, hey, Marloes Coonen's coming to town. We don't really have a sideline reporter. Would you be able to interview her? And I literally said, Shayna, I have never held a microphone. I've never looked at a camera.
You've had no desire to do it either?
No,
Never thought about
it? No, not the television part of it. I wanted to stick close to the sport. And I think I knew as soon as I got pregnant that being a champion in Invicta, and because still as an atomweight, which is, I can't compete with UFC strawweights. I never could. Like, I weigh 118 right now, and I'm not in the greatest shape.
Yeah, it's tough.
So if the top of the mountain for me was always going to be Invicta and making 3-3 or whatever it would be, I had another career in venture capital. Like, I had other stuff going on, and I really wanted to dedicate. I wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
And like be.
It's about the kiddo.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's bigger than your dream.
So I saw the chance. Like, well, maybe this will allow me to stay intertwined and included in the sport that I love so much, and I can still be there and just not in that other capacity. So I took a chance, and I guess they liked it, and so they had me doing the live post-fight interviews. So I literally learned how to do anything on television by myself, by trial and error, live on UFC Fight Pass.
I think it's the best way to go.
And it is horrendous to go back and watch.
Yeah, I hear you. That's how it is.
awful.
I mean, if it wasn't bad, you're just a complete narcissist. You're like, it's actually pretty good. You're like, Jesus Christ.
I remember calling my husband after, I think it was Invicta 9, if you guys want to find it on Fight Pass and watch my post-fight interviews.
You're going to bring it, the insert here.
I called my husband. I was like, hey, so how'd I do? And he's like, well, he's brutal. He's so honest. He's so honest.
Does he have any background in any TV, anything?
He's no, but he's an extremely educated MMA fan and an incredibly smart guy. But like, so honest.
It'll hurt your feelings.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like my friend Joe
Always.
Rogan.
Yeah. And he's like, well, you did good. You sounded, it kind of sounded like you had a stroke. Because he's like, you were talking so slowly. And looking back.
Usually it'd be the opposite.
I know. I was so worried about being too fast.
You slowed it down.
And tripping over my words that my delivery was a lot.
And the fighters are
like this.
Like Walter Cronkite or some shit. Yeah. And the energy just like, come
it was
on.
So
I would rather have that than the
deliberate.
speed. I dig it. I'm not mad at it right now. Yeah.
God.
Because usually people do the opposite.
Yeah.
Like stand-ups, if you can tell they've gone a year in, it's like flying through
the
it.
pendulum swung the other way after he said that.
Yeah.
And then you watch the next one, I'm like,
sound like
hey,
you're
how was your fight? You know, terrible.
Like the Micro Machine guy.
Yeah.
They sound like you were sipping on scissor, just on lean. They're like, what is wrong with Laura?
Looking back.
So it goes from Invicta, and then where the UFC sees it, because you got a big viral moment when the girl kissed you on the lips.
Yeah, Tanya Evinger.
Tanya kissed you on the lips.
Went in.
And then that goes viral. And then, but I would assume that's not why the UFC called.
I don't think it is.
Absolutely not.
I don't, no. I mean, I don't think it hurt that I handled it well.
You had fun with it.
Invicta being on UFC Fight Pass, you know, they watch those, and any property, and there's lots of them now.
There's so many now.
They watch those, like the producers and the people that make the decisions about who's on the broadcast team, and really even like Sean and Mick, they're pretty integrated into all of those regional shows.
I was on the first show for UFC Now, and I started talking shit about Reebok. And I was like, they won't see this.
Oh, they see everything. They see everything.
My job.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway.
don't do that. Not that you would.
Noted.
So then they see your work in Invicta, and then you got called up to the big leagues.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that my first UFC gig was a Contender, and it was early, but I actually was working Fox. Yeah. So they called me and they said, hey, would you like to come audition for Fox? And that whole experience, let me tell you what.
I've been through it.
I know. Wild. wild. I was not prepared for that. And they
neither.
auditioned me as an anchor. So like, I'm dealing with multiple cameras and addressing analysts, and I
They're in your
literally,
ear. You have
oh my
producer in
God.
your ear, and they're like,
Oh my
you're going
God.
to start on camera 1, and as soon as you start explaining it, you go to camera 3, you're like, what in the fuck?
And I've never done a voiceover. I have no idea how to read the rundown of when I'm supposed to talk. No fucking clue about any of it. And the night before, I remember my analysts were Stephen Thompson and I think it was Tyron. Now I'm forgetting. But I literally cut out, I went on the internet with my travel printer.
Yeah.
And I cut out pictures of them and printed them and put them on pillows and like
Like you
set
were
up.
talking to 'em.
Yeah, like set up the couch because I'd never done it before.
Yeah,
It's like
prepared.
I got to figure out how to like
Yeah. Do it.
look over at people and integrate them in the
I dig it.
conversation.
That's how
and
bad you wanted it.
That's how bad I
So it
wanted
must have went well.
No, it went horribly. Horribly.
Could have gone worse than mine. No way.
You want to bet?
But my audition was, it wasn't live on air, but it was like a pre-show. It was
Same.
even an audition.
It was just taped.
And it was Chael Sonnen, and I forget who else. Might have been, I forget, Karen Bryant, and Chael Sonnen, Karen Bryant. And I struggle with names sometimes.
So
It's
what?
just, I'm not great at it. And it was an all Brazil card. And the Jussier Framega, which I can say now, I'm destroying the names. And I get done.
Juicer,
Oh, it was a.
Formidja.
I'm like, Jesse, and I can tell, and Chael's my boy, was like, come on. I'm like, I'm trying. What the it's in fucking Portuguese,
Yeah.
dude. Who does this to a guy?
Yeah.
And I get in the back, and my agent manager, they're like, not great, not great.
Yeah.
And yeah, so.
I cried in the
I did
airport
too.
on
Yeah.
the way home.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Yeah, they intentionally threw me a curveball. I also never read a teleprompter before.
That's a
Not-
skill
had
in
no
itself.
idea.
Yeah.
And so I am reading the teleprompter, and they intentionally put the wrong script in there just to see how I'd handle it if like
Interesting.
I did not handle
Sounds like
it
somebody
well.
didn't want you to get the gig.
I think they were just saying like,
Just some ugly producer.
How
like,
would
fuck
you-
her, just
hate
horns.
her.
Yeah.
I did not Ron Burgundy. Like I caught it as I'm reading it, but you know, they're in your ear, you're reading one thing, your body's trying to say something else. I could go back and find the tape.
You know,
and send
I
it to you.
am
It's bad.
Chael Sonnen.
Yes.
God damn it.
Damn
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then eventually you get in the UFC via Fox. Same. I was working with Fox.
Yeah.
And then the Contender Series starts.
Yes. So they did call me after that, and it was kind of like well, you clearly aren't an anchor.
Yeah.
But you also clearly really know the game, and we've seen enough of your work in Invicta. Would you like to be a reporter? So I started doing the backstage reporting roles first for Fox. And then probably a year and a half after doing that was when I was sitting in the parking lot at Target and got a call.
This is in Kansas City?
Yeah, we got this new show, and we need someone that's good at live post-fight interviews. Because that's the thing too, is like, there's definitely a
different
difference between the ones on Fox or even ESPN. Usually got like 5, 10, sometimes more than 5 to 10 minutes to like think about an interview that you're
Yep.
going to have and think about what you want to ask them, as opposed to this fight just happened, you've got 20 seconds to get your ass in there and ask some intelligent stuff and
Get what we need,
and
too.
do and get
Yeah.
what we need. Yeah, and have enough understanding of the sport that the fighter is going to appreciate the questions that you're asking them about the fight that they just had.
Correct.
It's
How are
just
you
a different
feeling? It's like, what?
yeah, it's a different animal. Like
Yeah,
you want
it's
to talk
tough.
a little
It's a
X's and
tough
O's
gig.
in that type of post-fight
Yeah.
interview.
The bullets are live, dude.
Yeah, so they felt confident I could do that, and then what happened was, honestly, I can't remember if it was the first year or if it was just a ways into the first year. Dana never likes to listen to the commentators. He likes to watch those fights and just let them speak for themselves. And for some reason, he threw his ears in, and I guess heard one of my interviews. And I remember sitting in the back, and it was at the Tough Gym, and it was, I'm not making this up, 93 degrees. Back where my little like spot was.
Yeah.
Sweating buckets, so uncomfortable. I got this text from Dana White. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even believe Dana White has my number. Like, how's this happening? And he just goes, wow, you really, he always cusses, he's like, you really fucking know your shit.
Yep.
You know, like, you literally just asked everything I wanted to know about that fight. Keep it up. And that was the
Did you think it was
beginning.
Dana, or did you think it was a catfish?
No,
like, is this a bro? Yeah.
No, because he said.
Yeah, because he talks
said,
like that, but you don't, you know, he texts like that.
That's a good point. I actually didn't. I should have.
Like, is this a frat?
I should.
Is this the head of Sigma Pi? What's
you
happening?
imagine?
Yeah, he just talks like even
Someone
in
just
his
got
text.
my number.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then I can't remember if he came up to me after the show, but something kind of continued with that conversation where from that moment on, it was like he kind of respected what I was doing. And
Yeah, he
that
champions
was like when
you. You can tell he champions you. And I think one of the qualities of Dana is once you're in and he vouches for you, you're in, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And you got to do the work.
But you have to have the skill set.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, if he's going to back you up, you have to have the skill set, which you do.
I'm working on it. Like
You're so humble, and I appreciate it. You have the skill set, and I told you before we started this, it frustrates me they don't have you doing more.
Well, thank you.
Because I don't know why you're not on the fight nights. I don't know why you haven't done a pay-per-view yet. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
it would be so refreshing. It's like, we're just gonna keep doing the same thing over and over when you have the chops to do it.
It's as with anything in a company like this, there's a multi-layered reason for why that hasn't happened yet. I'm
sure.
And I'm sure I don't know many of the layers.
You don't have to worry about it. Let me be frustrated about it. If I was your manager, I'd be super frustrated.
Yeah.
But you don't need to worry. You just need to keep doing what you're doing. And
I
guarantee it happens. Guarantee it.
I am manifesting it daily, let me tell you.
We should do a bet. Hey, Dana, here's a bet. If Bo Nikal fights for the championship, she gets to be the analyst.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
There we go. There we go. I used to pack. I haven't always done this, but like since it became my like mission in life to call fights, and before they let me do it for Contender Series, which was a huge win. Like that was the biggest hump I needed to get over. I just needed to be able to show them I could do it because I had a color commentary audition as well about 3 years ago that they just destroyed. We're like don't
we're
love
good.
the voice,
Yeah.
don't, nothing about this is good.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, got a lot to work on. Let's get to work.
And then did you get a heads up when they made you the first female analyst in the UFC?
No. I got about 12 hours notice. But
sometimes that's good.
It was.
You can't overthink it.
I think because of what had happened with LFA earlier that year, when Pat Miletich stepped away from the LFA and they needed people to fill in there, and Alan Joban and I stepped in, and I actually stepped in super late. Like they kind of already had Alan, and then they're like, oh yeah, we'll throw Laura in there too. That's a story in and of itself.
Yeah,
because, and I don't mind sharing this because we've talked about it a lot, and it's funny now. But they kind of messed up a little bit and like didn't tell the producers that they were bringing me in to do commentary.
They thought Pat was still going to show
No,
up?
they thought it was going to be Alan filling in for Pat.
Just Alan.
Just Alan. So I literally drive my ass to Wichita. I'm like watching fight footage as I drive. You should never, ever, ever do that.
But also multitasking.
But also it was important.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's Wichita. Not a lot between Kansas City and Wichita.
Good.
Pretty safe.
A couple dares.
So I arrive, and like Ed Suarez is like, hey, just some issues, like come talk to me when you get here. I was like, all right. So I walk into this room, and there's like 11 men sitting around this table, and including the producer, and they literally went around and were like, this is why we don't think you should do this. Because they weren't prepared for it. They weren't sure I was prepared for it. None of them knew. Because it's polar
opposite of like the Pat Miletich
stuff. And
wasn't Pat like buying a hot dog when someone stormed the Capitol? He's just in the back like buying a hot dog and was like, what? And like, get him, and he got fired.
I don't even know what happened with that, to be honest.
He's like grabbing a pickle, but he just happened to be, he had no idea. He was like, oh, there's a parade today.
But Pat's a fucking legend, and like how do you put this random chick and like Alan, who people weren't familiar with him in that role either, to fill in for freaking Pat Miletich.
But also, hey fans, LFA's trying their best. Yeah.
So I sit through this meeting, and they're like, hey, we're gonna have you call one of the Facebook fights, and I'm like, really?
Like, bitch, I drove from Kansas City to Wichita. I'm not doing Facebook.
And fights. I am not good at those moments. I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure.
They can tell on my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, but you know, we had a lot of Hawaiian fighters on this card too. Maybe you could do like a little report about how many Hawaiian fighters there are.
Oh my
And in
God,
my head, I'm like, I have this job.
Yeah.
On ESPN.
Yes.
For the UFC. Like I I was so close to crying because that's what
your
happens
story,
when
though.
I get flustered.
That's your story, though.
And I sat through the meeting in my mind. I'm like, how do I handle this situation? How do I handle this situation without being ungrateful, without being a bitch, without being understanding,
but
that,
also
like,
sticking up for yourself.
But also sticking up for myself and being like, no, I know I'm good at this. And so they have me step out of the room and have an hour-long meeting about whether I could do this.
59 minutes too long.
And then they finally let me do it. And the ending of the story is like, after the show, literally to a person, all of them came like, we are so sorry.
Apologize. Yeah, they just didn't know.
We just didn't know.
They just don't know. Yeah, and some of it you got to give them a bit of a leeway there.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
How would they know?
Yep.
Unless all of them had all the time to listen to me call the Invicta, because I did commentary for Invicta as well.
But they don't know. You know, they're busy. Everyone's busy.
And
but you assume they know, and sometimes you can't assume.
Yeah. So I say that with love, because I love all those guys.
Oh, Ed Soares.
I think Ed Soares and I are super tight.
Yep.
He'll be like, yeah, that is what happened.
Yep.
Just,
I know.
I'm
Ed,
not
what's
throwing
up
them under
now,
the bus,
dude?
because since then, they really are what helped propel me to get that contender spot, which is going to propel me into a fight night at some point.
100%. And then you can do the fight night or pay-per-view and then come directly here. That's the deal.
All right.
Well, you're from Kansas City, and you guys know your beef out there.
We do.
So we have burgers today. Stout Burgers. It's a food truck. Hopefully it's good.
I mean, you read me right. I'm a Midwest girl.
Yeah.
I need me some.
It's a little
some
pressure, but you know, we gave Marvin Vittori pizza. You know.
Slightly. Maybe not racist, but like,
I know. Oh, trust me, it gets dicey. Yeah, we've had some guys where I'm like, really? All right, well, let's see how the burgers are, and then we'll continue this talk.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's take another little break. If you guys watching me and Laura Sanko eat food, man, all right? Because you know those times when you're so into what you're doing, you can't think about anything else. Those times when you're most focused and productive, that's what we call being in the zone or flow state. And guess what? You can get there whenever you want with a little help from Alpha Brain. My friends at On It, they have the world-renowned nootropic supplement with over 1 million bottles sold. Alpha Brain promotes cognitive functions, including memory, mental speed, focus. Yeah, I'm on it all the time, man. It can help you remember names, all right? We all struggle with names, am I right? Or we just don't care about that person. But I think it's more of a memory thing, all right? That's where Alpha Brain helps you out, man. My boy Joe Rogan says he feels that it helps him form better sentences when he's talking. You want to be like Joe Rogan, don't you? Just buy Alpha Brain and you turn to Joe Rogan, all right? You might lose your hair like him. Either way, you'll remember a lot of stuff. Alpha Brain contains amino acids and plant compounds that promote the brain's release of alpha waves, which are associated with greater creativity and productivity, all right? They got you covered, man. Also, if you don't like coffee, it makes you jittery, or energy drinks make you jittery, all right, this Alpha Brain, it's caffeine-free. You don't have any excuse, man. All right. And if you don't like it, they give you your money back. You have no reason not to try Alpha Brain. All right. If you don't like it and if you feel it's not fit for you, you tell them why, and they'll refund your money on the spot. No return necessary. We got you covered, man. But you can save 10% on your order by going to onit.com/FTD for Food Truck Diaries, right? onit.com/FTD, or swing by your local Walmart, all right, and pick up some today if you want to go to Walmart. Or you could just order from my thing, all right, onit.com/FTD. It's also in the link in the bio. Or you could go to Walmart. Pretty easy choice, right? Link's in the bio. This episode of Food Truck Diaries with Laura Sanko is also brought to you by my favorite kratom on the frickin' planet. The kratom's the Wild West. It's like CBD was about 5 years ago. You know who to trust. You know what you get in your bottle. But with my friends at Happy Hippo, you know exactly what you're getting. And you get in a variety of ways. You get the droplets. You can do the little simple shots that they have. You can do the gummies, the delicious gummies. They have all sorts of fun flavors, fun packaging. But also, what matters, not the packaging, it's what the kratom provides for you. It's my limitless pill. Whenever you see me doing podcasts, whenever you see me doing stand-up, I'm on the kratom, son. That's right. It's the best focus product I've ever used. And best of all, it's natural, baby. Visit happyhippoherbals.com. Use promo code ThickBoy for 20% off for life. You can use that code as many times as you want. You're welcome. You're getting kratom at a discount for the rest of your life. You're welcome. Happyhippoherbals.com. Promo code ThickBoy, 20% off for life. Let's get back to the program.
I'm gonna do the shoe. Is it good? Am I making a good choice?
Shoe is actually an acronym for Scoville Heat Unit, so it's spicy.
Oh, it's spicy.
Yes.
Okay, well, I can do that. Like, it's not crazy spicy.
Yeah, not that crazy. I mean,
Okay.
It has a kick.
I like kick.
Kicks are
I can
fun.
kick.
Yeah, I like
things
kicks.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the Goomba,
Goomba.
and then also do a shoe too. And she wanted the loaded fries.
Oh, you're blaming that on me?
We're gonna split the loaded fries. Yeah.
So you can't get it from her then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
deal.
All right, cool. Got
She
it.
also wants.
You know what else?
the
She
onion
wanted actually
rings.
half of the burger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she wants. That's why I got 2.
Yeah, that's why too. She wanted half of it.
Yeah.
I think that's it, brother.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. We hopefully these
Okay.
passed the Kansas City bar.
It's a high bar.
It's a high bar.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I actually sold beef for a while. So
Oh, you used to
high
sign
bar.
beef?
Sold. Yeah, I would sell it.
Like like full cows?
That mine's upside down, but yeah.
I'd probably blame that on the handlers.
I wouldn't sell like the entire side of beef. I actually would process it up and
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Was that a good gig? I feel like it'd be a good gig in Kansas City.
not really. There's no money in food. It was a passion, a hobby.
It's a passion
Yeah.
project. Here's the thing about cow. I do eat beef. It's my favorite food. I'm carnivore diet usually, so I eat a ton of red meat. But cows are fucking cute.
They are.
God, they're
They
cute.
are. It's really hard, especially like when we have bottle calves that either lose their mom or their mom doesn't accept them, and then you like form a relationship. It's easier when it's just like a herd and I'm moving them, and we just call them by their number.
Yeah.
And we don't generally eat the ones that we have at our place, but every once in a while.
Sometimes
My
it's
husband's
like-
vicious with it too.
Is he?
He's
But did
a-
he grow up in that culture?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something you gotta grow
He's
up.
like,
I'm
you
sure.
know what you're eating right now, Tim.
Yeah, that's Betsy.
Yeah.
That night, Betsy slept in the bed next to us.
Right?
We nursed her back to health.
Right?
I shot Betsy in the face.
It-
Savage.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, man.
it was good. It was a good first bite,
Yours is the spicy one?
I think.
I'll start with the
Yeah.
spice.
It was a good first bite.
Was it nice? Mm-hmm. Is there a go-to place you have in Kansas City? Kansas City has great barbecue.
We were great, yeah. I mean, if I'm looking for meat, for beef,
Yes.
it's gonna be our beef. But
You like the cows you
yeah,
slaughter.
yeah. But no, there's amazing barbecue in Kansas City, and it's never the places that people tell you when they visit KC either. Like if you come through KC for comedy or for whatever,
You got the spots?
text me, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
because
you
usually
wanna-
people give you like the touristy places.
No, you
That's
want to
not
go.
what I'm looking for.
You want to go to the place that has like the bars on the windows.
I want the hole in the wall.
Yeah.
You got to go to a seedy part of town.
Mm-hmm.
They have ribs only about 11 a.m. So for you, how do they decide what shows you're going to do and which ones you're not? Like
a great
obviously you have a
question.
schedule, but there's UFC in Paris coming up. There's
Yeah.
there's a million fight nights. There's also like how do they decide? All right, we
I
want
don't really know. I just get an email that says, "Hey, these are the shows that are available to you.
do you want to do?
Let
them?
me know."
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
And the tough thing is like, because all these spots are very competitive, there's definitely a lot of pressure. You feel like if I say no,
I know.
then how long is it going to be until that comes around? So my attitude for the longest time has just been to say yes to everything I possibly can
the way to go.
manage. And it's been a very hectic couple of years, but I feel like it's paying off.
It'll pay
Well,
off. You
yeah.
do your dues, and then because I assume with that schedule, like you probably leave. Do you get the same time fighters do on Tuesday? Like, is it Tuesday through Sunday, or you get flying in like Thursday?
Thursday. But during Contender Series season, like if there's a pay-per-view, I'm out the door Monday morning to come to Vegas for Contenders, and then I get up at 3 a.m. on Wednesday to catch a 5 a.m. flight out of Vegas
Jesus.
to get home, pick my son up from school, try to get some work done, throw some laundry in, and then leave Thursday morning early to go to wherever the pay-per-view is.
That's a grind.
Get home Sunday, leave Monday, get home Wednesday. It's hard.
It's a beast.
It is.
You
It is.
frequent flyer miles like I do.
On Southwest.
Oh, Southwest.
Which-
You get A.
I mean, I do, but there's no there's no like
Southwest.
lounge.
Southwest
Not
is
as-
free for all. It's just like it's like the Greyhounds of the sky. Like you're proud you're A, but it's also kind of sad.
But it's like this is the pinnacle.
Yeah, like United, they really treat you proper.
I flew home from Brazil with one of the UFC. He's the director, so like, and he's been the director forever. So he has stupid amount of points.
He owns the
I think it was like global elite king something. I don't know.
They treat him like royalty, yeah.
But he's like, hey, you can be my guest. I shit you not. We rolled up to the airport, and it was like they knew we were coming. I never carried a piece of my luggage. There was basically no security involved whatsoever.
TSA's bending the knee while he walks by.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
They took us on this cart and drove us to the gate.
You get all the drinks,
and then literally
food.
just like face palmed everyone.
Yeah.
I felt so important. It was amazing.
I know.
And then it never happened again. And I went back to
You're sitting that diamond first class and you're judging everybody that walks by.
Oh, I did.
Okay, keep going, okay.
Avert your eyes, please.
Yeah, please don't. All right, don't go over here, all right?
Let's not get
all
too-
the pour in the back. Yep, I've been there, man, once myself. Now, we have something in common, too, with the Alta program.
Yes.
So two members of the Thick Boy staff, both Georges, George Squared, Keto George, Tall George, two Georges, so we had to figure it out, right? They're both involved in that Alta program right here in Burbank. These boys are 6 weeks in.
I'm so excited about this program. And I think people, like, it's hard to explain to people what it is, but then once they see it, they get it. And to me, it's like, it's a combination of, remember that like Rockstar Fantasy Camp where you can pay a bunch of money and like Anthony Kiedis will freaking teach you how to...
No.
No?
Is this a TV show? Are you
No,
talking
it's
about
like
Rock
a
of
thing
Love?
No, it's a thing you can do. Like if you pay enough
Really?
money.
You can pay enough money?
I'm probably giving a wrong example. I don't know that Anthony Kiedis actually did this. But
I was
his
like,
point
this
being
sounds
like,
lit.
or baseball fantasy camp where you can go and like participate in the training camp of this team if you pay enough money.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it also has this really deeper component, which to me is the more important part because it's like MMA is really not a very accessible sport. It's an amazing sport. It's a life-changing sport. It's changed my life. I'm sure it's changed your life. It's really hard to rock up to a gym just coming off the
scary.
streets and feel like, oh, I can do this.
Super scary.
There's a whole portion of the population out there that would love to know what it's like to train MMA, though.
Agree.
And would benefit from
With
training MMA.
there's your loaded fries. By ours, I mean our loaded fries. Also kind of my loaded fries, but you can have
But
some.
it's okay. Yeah.
I agree. So it's a program where they take basically, it's kind of like from Joes to pros. So it's anyone who wanted to be involved in mixed martial arts, they get the world-class trainers and gyms. They take, I don't know how many people are involved in it, but two of my guys are, and they have to commit for 20 weeks, it's
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., and they get world-class training just like a real fighter would get. And then at the end, once they go through all the training, it could just be, they want to get in shape or get more confidence or whatever, ditch the double chin, whatever it is. But for a lot of them, they can take a smoker amateur fight
Yeah.
at the end. I think both my guys are going to do it. I'm going to corner them. If
love
you
that.
lose, you're going to lose your job. So there's a caveat that I want to throw in there and put a little I want you to feel the UFC pressure, okay? I'm going to yell at you like Dana White.
I can't wait to hear the speech in between rounds, like that minute.
Oh,
long,
it's going to
like-
be,
yeah.
dude, it's going to be intense.
You want to pay your bills?
Yeah, yeah. You want to come to work on Monday? You better knock this beep, and it's just beep, beep. It's going to be great. Yeah, I think it's cool.
It's so cool because my experience was not like overly welcoming, like when I would rock up to an MMA gym, and this allows the accountant, the mom, the whoever to go, you know what? I like watching the UFC. I wonder what it would be like to train like those men and women, and it bridges the gap between that thought process and the actual experience of doing it. And the story, like to me, the stories coming out of the people that have been through this program and things that they've achieved in their own life are absolutely incredible. Like there was a woman in, I can't remember if it was one of the Australia programs or if it was here domestically, but like had a really difficult past, had been the subject of sexual abuse and like had all sorts of really difficult baggage in her life, and it was starting to affect her marriage to where she couldn't be intimate with her husband.
Oh, meaning prior to her getting married,
Yeah.
and then it started.
And then just like reared its ugly head, yeah. And she literally through training MMA, specifically the jiu-jitsu portion of it, worked through all of the mental blocks that she had to where she could actually have a normal marriage, an intimate marriage with her husband again. Like that's how transformative MMA training can be. I'm not saying everybody's experience is going to be that dramatic, but like it's life changing.
No, my boy Guido George was 460 pounds, and his goal is to fight Conor McGregor. That's how. That's literally he wants to finish this program and fucking fight.
He was 460.
460.
That's amazing.
460. Am I off on that, Mike? Was he 460?
It was up there. It was at the upper force.
Insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's transformative. I don't know, like I don't know a lot about your motivations about how, I know you obviously background in football, but like for me, I never wanted to fight. I loved what the training did for my mental health.
Same. I just enjoyed
it.
the training, and all of a sudden I was the ultimate fighter. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess
I
fight grown men in a steel cage in my underwear for money. I guess I'm Jean-Claude Van Damme from Lionheart now.
Yeah.
You know, even though I have a double degree. Okay, let's do it. You know, it's terrifying.
It is.
Terrifying.
But
Absolutely terrifying.
facing that fear and like.
Oh, I wouldn't change it for anything.
No.
Yeah. No, it gave me the tools to get through today. Now, I thought what else was interesting about you, doing my research on you, is part of me was like, why would you even acknowledge that? But you've brought up on interviews before the hate you get on social media.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone in this world gets more hate than an attractive girl who's also successful. It's like these trolls who never had girlfriends, it just triggers the shit out of them. And I think because maybe they didn't get the hot girl in high school, this is their moment to fire back at them.
Yeah.
And you've even received death threats.
It's weird.
I've got my share of death threats. And a buddy of mine who's way more famous was like, oh, this is how you know you've kind of made it. I was like, oh, well, I don't want to make it then. Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't want to have to hire security. But yeah. So, but for you, it's like, it's not like it's like you're if you were competing, I get it, right? Because maybe you beat someone and that person's from whatever, this city, so that city's upset that you beat them. But for you, it's like, okay, because I'm doing commentating and analyst work and
yeah, I think a lot of people, it's a weird double-edged sword because it's like on one hand, you only have your job because of how you look, and I'm always like, listen, we live in the Instagram world. I'm not that hot. There are 50 million other younger, better-looking girls in bikinis on Instagram. It cannot be for that reason.
If that was true, I mean, the Victoria's Secret models be fucking president. It doesn't make sense.
And then at the same time, it's like either you only got your job, you're hot, or you look a certain way and there's no fucking possibility that you have any idea what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't.
They can't comprehend it.
They don't see that side of me. So I've been really intentional in the last couple of years in terms of like posting more training and posting demo videos I do of jiu-jitsu.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I've tried really hard to
paint a different narrative.
Paint it, yeah. That being said, like I'm not afraid of a good thirst trap. Like I mean, I'm not denying that at all.
Yeah, I'd have nothing to thirst trap people with, but I get why you would do it. Yeah, just saying. But yeah, it's interesting.
I have like 3 more years left of thirst trapping, and then we're bottling up. We're shutting that door because it's gonna get awkward if I'm like in my mid-40s.
Yeah, and your son's like 15, and his buddy's like, dude, check out your mom, man. Yeah. No, it is dicey. I think too. You know, even though you show those jiu-jitsu videos, you could show a video of you head kicking Anderson Silva, and people are like, she doesn't know how to fight. It's just it's their own insecurities.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, isn't it strange?
I've had guys DM me like, I hope you get raped. I hope you kill yourself.
And that guy is a winner.
Yeah,
I mean, think about that. Think about sending that.
I can't imagine.
Well, there's no way he's doing good.
No. And I would like to think it's purely for the, like, he just wants to say something so outlandish that he thinks I can't resist responding to it. And I shouldn't say never, every once in a while I can't help myself.
Oh,
my husband always like slaps it's like, stop acknowledging that those people even
you never want to feed the trolls.
It's hard.
What a weird thing, think about that.
Yeah, it's messed up. But I will say this too, as much of that as I get, I've been genuinely pleasantly surprised by general fan reception about me taking this role that really is not, it hasn't been done before, where you've had a woman in like a very specific lane. The reporter lane is like, you're good at television, you're probably a girl, you don't really need to know the fight game in order to be able to do it. You need to be good at television, which I really wasn't. Like I kind of forced myself to be. They've never had someone in that role that had enough of a fight background where they could transition into being someone who has an opinion worthy of listening to. Yeah, worthy of listening to.
Yeah, because sometimes, like the NFL have those female sideline reporters, and they'll be like, Katie, what do you think? She's like, these guys are sweating. Like, back to you. You know, it's like that. But she's like the attractive girl.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are really breathing hard out here, Gary. They're all, thank you. Thank you. Throw it back to Keith.
Yeah.
You know?
So like that sideline reporter role, you're really not there to have an opinion. You're there to relay information that you gathered from other people.
Yeah.
You're not there to have an opinion. And I remember like I would find these random opportunities to try to like insert my fight knowledge, and I would start breaking down, you know, fighters a little bit too much in the reports, and be like, you need to stop.
Producer's like, please
stop.
Yeah, cut
stop.
it out.
Like you're a reporter, please stop.
Yeah.
So it was hard to go from like, this is who you are, this is what you do, to this new lane where they haven't had, well, they've obviously never had a female commentator.
That's why Dana calls you the Ronda Rousey of commentators.
Man, that like, even you saying it, like that.
I would go one further and say the Hoist Gracie, right?
Let's not
right?
overthrow.
Why not? He was the first. You're the first. You know?
I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're the first. Yeah. There's no Ronda without Gina Carano.
That's a good point. No, that's a good point.
But I get it.
No, I remember when he said that, and like I actually have that clip like saved in my phone. Yeah, I think I was worried that people wouldn't allow me to shift from host reporter into this like role where like, oh, we want to listen to what she says, not just be like, oh, she's
They wouldn't
moderately
if you didn't have
attractive.
the chops.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't who you were, it would be a tough gig. You know what I'm saying? Like if you didn't have the chops, weren't able to do it, it'd be a rough go.
Oh.
But you do. So it's right here.
And it helps that like the guys that I work with, as I talk with my mouth full, but it helps with the guys I work with, the Bispings, the Pauls, the DCs of the world.
Yeah, they'll love you.
They have been so supportive.
Yes.
So supportive. And the most supportive person of all has been Dana. So like the combination of the guys that I sit next to being like, all right, you're cool, we get it, you know. And it took a while though to earn that from them.
You just gotta keep showing up and doing your job.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And also those guys, you know, they're not easy crowd pleasers. Like if you weren't good, you would know.
Yeah.
Especially with Bisbee.
Yes.
You would know. You would know.
Michael. I love Michael.
Yeah.
When I first like really dug into this mission of being the first, I'll be honest with you, it was like my competitive spirit, my internal, individual, personal drive. But it wasn't very long at all after I kind of like set out on this mission that I realized it was about way, way more than that. And I know that sounds like super cheesy, but I've had dads message me and they're like, you know, I was watching the UFC and you came on television and my daughter walked in the room and was like, who's this? And he said, and it literally opened up an opportunity for me to have a conversation with her about like, you know, you can enter these arenas where it's a male-dominated situation and you can still have a place if you do it right.
Yep.
And
if you have the skills.
You have to have the skills.
That's number one.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And it's not, like, I am definitely not what you would call a traditional feminist. Like, you probably have spent enough time around me at this point to realize, like, my personality is, like, I'm kind of like one of the guys. I was raised around my older brother.
Grew up in gyms, too, in Kansas City. Yeah, older brother.
Yeah. But at the same time, I have kind of realized that, like, that representation does matter. And this sport is male and female. Like the UFC is so special to me because it's the only sport, unlike the WNBA and the NBA, which is totally different, where they're together and they train together. And to me, that's the biggest thing is like the men have respect for the women and vice versa because they're training together in the gym.
But it's also like, you look at WNBA, like there's no one even, I mean, lately, just because she's in prison, Russia has gotten a lot of attention, like Brittany Griner. But compared to like LeBron James, like there's nowhere in the female WNBA. There's no superstars like globally. Like kids are buying their merch, stuff like that. Think about when Ronda was fighting. I'm talking. And we were hanging out. You're talking the most famous fighter, man or woman, ever at the time. Not even close.
Yeah,
that's how cool it is.
It is, and I think that watching a woman do something that is so outside of the norms, and especially because she looked the way she did. She just she just blew outside of that box that people would want to, you know, to put her in. And to see her go out there and just dominate and do it so beautifully and consistently.
And that's why they call you the Ronda Rousey of commentating. That's what Dana said. I can't thank you enough for doing the show. The fries are cold now.
I'm still going to eat
The
them.
burger had too much bun. I will have some. It's too much bun, but it was a tasty burger. I can't thank you enough.
No, thank you.
The next time when you do the pay-per-view, you got to fly straight back to here.
I will.
Now, we don't let anybody go without, you know, I'm a sneakerhead. So
I know.
I give every guest a sneaker that comes on. Now, these I got you.
I'm so
I couldn't
excited.
just a plain shoe because you're not a plain girl. And so, you know, Kanye West is an outlier. And you're an outlier. And these aren't just any
Stop.
Yeezys. They're
Stop.
the zebras. Yeah.
Stop!
So these are going to be,
Bro,
can rock
oh my
those.
God. Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I have been wanting Yeezys for the longest time and have not had the balls. I just didn't think I could carry it off.
You definitely can.
But
You're a
I can
superstar, and
now.
those are a superstar shoe. And Kanye's a superstar, and he designed them.
These are
So this is from my
fabulous.
boys at Suplex in Philly. They said, Laura Sanko, please wear and enjoy these Yeezy 350 Zebras. Big fans over here at the shop. If you're in Philly, be sure to stop in. Then they give their address. There's a picture of one of them. Just kidding. Just kidding.
As long as it's up his face.
Yeah, just kidding.
Thank
But
you
enjoy
so
it,
much.
yes. Hopefully
Oh,
those
I'm so
fit in your
excited.
luggage with your printer.
Oh.
She did bring a printer.
If I have to
As a
ditch the
carry-on.
printer, I'm
Yeah.
going to keep the shoes.
Because you want your own printer because you don't want printers to mess up.
Yeah.
That shows how dedicated you are.
Thank
You're the
you.
best.
No, you're the
Please come
best.
back.
Thank you. Can I give you a hug?
Please. Enjoy
Thank
the
you so much.
Yeezys.
I will.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it.